So we started recording, and the way I usually like to start is everybody that's new. I think at least two of you I'm already familiar with, Chantal and Salvo, but the rest of you look new. Maybe Bubbles, if I recall correctly. Uh, Maybe not. So I usually ask you guys that are new, if you want to share, you can type in the chat, or you can use the hand symbol to request to speak on stage, and tell us a little bit about yourself, what your current level of coding experience is, how you found us, and what your interest in this event is. If you could tell us like those things, that'll be cool. If any of you guys want to. Of course, you don't have to. You actually don't have to, but it's great if you do. All right, we got three of you guys typing, so thank you. All right. So Zania, I seen that you typed in the greetings or introductions. It's up to you if you want to type here. Uh, all right, M, whoever M is, blockchain dev interested in AI. All right, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. So I'll get into some of these slides I like to share, and then so what I do is the first half of the meeting is we talk about these different slides I got that were prepared by me and the boot camp that I work with. So I work with the coding boot camp, and so we go over these slides, all that, and then once we're done with that, we get into the project. We have a group project, and it's incorporates a little bit of AI, but we're using OpenAI's API on that one. And then we just have a couple updates for that one, and we have a temporary workaround because we're working on a group project that we're trying to get to MVP level, but it's been going just a little bit slow because I've been trying to make it really beginner friendly, and I think that's um, kind of a little bit been the issue because most beginners don't know where to pick up and just take off with maybe a task or something. All right, so we got. Hey, my name is Ben. I'm nearly a complete novice to coding. I actually work in biotech. Between jobs at the moment, and it's not a great job market. So looking for skills that I can add professionally without having to be in a lab. Interested in a solid foundation for computational biology, coding languages required, and modeling. That's cool. Yep. So, yeah, you're definitely gonna want to learn some coding. Um, I don't know what programming language you're gonna want to get into because there's a bunch of them. Um, but yeah, you're gonna have to pick that one and really hone it, like specialize in it, because every programming language is going to have concepts that they carry across programming languages, but some concepts to the programming language itself are unique from the others, which are a little bit more fewer, but the main concepts that you need to grasp to be able to program in a programming language, they carry across. The thing that really separates them is the syntax. um, all right, we got bubbles typing. I've been coding for about 3 years now, part time. I've been looking to make a career change into being full time web dev. I work as a wine. I have no idea how to say that second word, so forgive me right now. But I have learned JavaScript, HTML, CSS, some Node.js, and SQL. All right, portfolio, LinkedIn. I found this course on Eventbrite. Yeah, thank you for that. Letting me know where you found us. Eventbrite. All right. I get some people from Meetup because I do have the event set up for Meetup and Eventbrite. I did have them set up on Facebook for a little bit, but I wasn't getting anybody's interest from Facebook. You know, surprisingly, anybody that uses Facebook you see all of those web dev channels out there or groups that they got, and nobody was trying to join our dev community here and do anything. So I just pretty much I we do have a Dark Mode Devs Facebook, but I pretty much just kind of let that one go because there's literally interaction on Facebook as far as web dev goes has been very minimal. It doesn't seem like it's really a good platform for that. It doesn't feel that way anyway. Oh yeah, we're gonna be showing the slides right now in a little bit for Chantal. Yeah, because I know you've attended before. We're gonna show them for a little bit, and then we're gonna get into the updates for the project. And then we'll see if anybody's interested in the project, what we're doing with the project, things like that. All right, so let me get going. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. Yeah. So what you're gonna see on the screen at first is just us on Discord. And for those of you that don't know how to use Discord, um, all you have to do is click on that screen that I share. It should show you two screens, and all you gotta do is click on the one I'm sharing, and it should enlarge itself so that way you can see um, when I share my screen. So like if I'm sharing my screen right now, you should be able to see that. So that's part of the project, but what I'm doing is just trying to like, you know, test it. Make sure you guys can all see the screen good. All right, so here goes the slides. Oh, come on. All right, there we go. All right. Uh, all right. So if at any point you guys can't hear me, just ping me or speak or say something. Discord sometimes is a little bit buggy, and I've had an issue where I was talking and talking, and Discord literally kicked everybody out of the event, which sucked, but it happens. All right, so these slides, like I said, were prepared by me and the coding bootcamp I work with, and here's a little bit about myself. Just call me by Fernando, and I'm a graduate from New Camp Coding Bootcamp. They're full stack uh, web and mobile development program. And then I'm also starting my senior year. Actually, tomorrow I start my senior year at the University of Advancing Technology for computer science and artificial intelligence. It's a double major. And then I also completed a software engineering apprenticeship for 8 months, and I'm also founder and CEO of Dark Mode Devs. Give me 1 second, just in case. Just in case. I think I got an alert from somebody. All right. No, I didn't. So we're going good. All right, just testing, just testing. Uh, Last week we didn't really. All right, so here we go again. Why career in coding? Well, because the tech industry is booming. There's a lot of interesting things there, and everybody wants to be a part of it. That's what I think, or that's what I'm hoping. You have people with different reasons, but that was the reason why I wanted to be a part of it. Was because there's a lot to create when you learn how to code. There's a lot going on. It is growing, and it might seem like, well, how the hell do I compete with these big companies? I just say, just don't try. Like, just do what you can that's unique and see where you can stand out and or be a part of it. Try to see where you can work with people, either open source or at these companies, and see where you can contribute or be a part of all these changes going on. Some people they just get into it because the money, like they see developers make a bunch of money and that's what they want. But that's you know what I mean. I mean, who can't use a bunch of money, right? So, all right. So, why career in coding? The demand is high. So, like, we're gonna see the demand is high. So, I know there's people like someone mentioned earlier. The job market sucks, and I'm not gonna tell you that the job market is great because it does suck. But there's reasons why I believe it sucks. So everybody has their own take on why they think it sucks. But I think it's perception. So I think it's more that it does suck, but it's more because these companies now are when they were hiring in the tech industry like crazy during COVID. When everything was transitioning to online, they're hiring like crazy. keeping people working, all that stuff. There's all these online programs that came out for learning how to code and getting people jobs coding without requiring a degree. But now that time's come to an end, and I think that they're starting to figure out that um, what they're doing is or another way I could say it is from what I'm looking at is they're looking just for top talent. So they're looking for the people that really know their stuff, and they can afford to be picky like that. Um, right now, especially those more established companies. But that's what I tell people, like, if your dream job is like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, or something like that, that's good to have a goal like that. But most developers don't start there. Um, just like go like find some startup or work in open source. There's even open source projects that you'll find out there where you can get paid for completing tasks. It's just the code bases kind of suck. So I'm not gonna lie, because I've looked at some of those open source projects that are out there, and there's a couple out there where you can uh, contribute, pick up a task, and if you complete the task after they verify that you've completed the task, you get paid. You get paid something for completing that task. But the code bases are nuts, like because there's like tons of people contributing and different. I don't know. It's just hard to explain because when you're learning the code, you're gonna see everybody's got a fingerprint. Like everybody's got their style, their fingerprint, and there's nobody really at for these open source projects really holding anybody to some type of standard to lock in some kind of, at least to make some type of consistent code base. But so I think some of these open source projects have more bugs in them because of that. Because you got people all over the world contributing to these things, and everybody's writing code according to different coding standards, and then trying to figure each other out at the end of that. And that's pretty nuts, but pretty interesting if you want to check it out. Why a career in coding? Mm, I guess like we talked about already, I'm not going to restate that. Everybody's got their reason. Most people for the money, but developers do make money. It just depends. These were salaries given, I believe. I don't know. Well, it says here 2023. This one was updated here, but they kind of they kind of fluctuate, huh? Yeah, they can. I'm sharing my screen. Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. All right. Huh. Yeah, because I have to watch both because of PowerPoint, so it's hard to see. I can't. I need to get a third screen. That's what I need to get. All right. So, um, anyway, developer salaries are different. So like they're gonna be in a range. Like there's not just one salary for everybody. So there's gonna be a range of salaries. Like depending on where you go, they're gonna make an offer, all that stuff. There's usually a range. The range that I've seen, especially on job postings, have been anywhere from 50,000 to 120. But you don't see the 120 anymore for entry level junior jobs. You don't see that anymore. It's mostly between like 65-ish and 90-ish, maybe something like that. Can you watch the chat though? And let me know if anybody's trying to say anything because I hear my alerts on Discord, but I don't know if it's for me. All right, okay. All right. So, what about AI? So, I bring this one up. This is a good slide to have because most people think that because to some extent AI can debug a little bit, just a little bit, and write a little bit of code, that it's going to replace developers, that we're in trouble, that now that we shouldn't be coding anymore when we got no code tools and we got AI. And I say that's a crock. Like I think that's bull. So when you think about it, um, who creates the AI, who creates these no code tools, developers, and then on the back end of that, all there is code. That's all it is. So, like either way, no matter how you look at it, I mean, if you're a non-technical person and you want to create something like a website or an app, then you can you can go take your shot at a no code tool and see how that works out. But in my opinion, those no code tools are trash. They're garbage. When you know how to code, you can actually do things that are more unique and more like I guess you'd say custom, like a lot better. You can do things a lot better depending on how well you know how to code. When you're at a very beginner level, it's hard to see that because you're at a beginner level. You're not maybe you're still learning. You're not sure exactly what you can do with code, but pretty much it's up to you, your imagination. You can do whatever you want. You can do things however you want. Um, Whereas with these no code tools, sometimes you're limited in how you can use them, and you're dragging and dropping and using these components that they're giving access to. And components, what I mean by is like for um, maybe for a website, for example, a nav bar, certain section that has certain functionality, or like footer, things like that, forms. Like they might have a component. They might even have some of them have even a button as a component. Like they have components for everything, and some of them are they don't give you much customizability other than maybe font and color, and that's what I mean. But when you're able to code yourself, you can actually build these in 3D or 2D, or do whatever you want with them, animate them, whatever you want. You can even animate, so I'm not going to say you can't with some of these no-code tools, depending on how sophisticated they are. But now we're going a little too off track. But the bottom line is AI ain't going to take nobody's job right now. As far as coding goes, I've used AI. I use it a lot. I try to keep up with it, and when these new things come out, I try to check them out and see what I can do with them. I use them to when I'm coding, I try to see how well they're debugging when they come out with updates, or how well they can write code and things like that. And it's not very well. So like New Camp Coding Boot Camp, the boot camp that I work for, that I also graduated from. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I bet. He said it's slowing down, right? Is that what he says? Slowing down? Yeah. Well, yeah, because like COVID, like no disrespect to anybody, but COVID feels like it's like not even a thing anymore. But it is a thing. I mean, it still exists. So don't take that the wrong way. But it feels like we went, like everybody, like humanity as a whole, got past a really bad time, and it's starting to like, I don't know, just like every other virus in history, right? We got past it, and I think it's almost like if it's almost like the common cold, when it used to, when it was, doing harm to people, and now it's like nothing. You kind of feel that with COVID now. But anyway, like back what we were talking about AI. So I've tested AI, and then the coding boot camp, they have a report that was done where they took so like everybody knows Stack Overflow, that's learning to code, or that codes. A lot of people like to use it. I don't like to use it. I don't really like it personally, but a lot of people like it. But they went on Stack Overflow because on that platform, if you have an issue when you're coding, if you have a problem, you can post your problem there, and then you're gonna have all these random developers that may see your problem and try to give you a solution, help you find a solution, especially when you're stuck. And so all these problems on Stack Overflow have been solved by humans. So they wanted to see if AI can do the same and how well it could do it. So it got a lot of different uh, probably hundreds, I believe. I'll have to find the article and post it inside of our chat here. Or I mean inside of the channel. But anyway, they got a lot of these problems, a lot of them, and they wanted to see if AI can solve them. So, humans already solved them. There's already a recommended solution. They usually mark it with the green check mark there. Um, but anyway, uh, the AI was only able to, well, the AI was always buggy. So the AI always injected some type of bug into the code, and it was only correct 52% of the time. So that should tell you there. And when you're, you know what I mean, that nobody nor no company, when they're paying somebody, um, you know, I don't know, almost 100,000 a year when they're starting, they don't want that level of, you know what I mean? Like 52% of the time is not good. That's not good at all. All right. I'm gonna go past that because I just wanted to make the point that AI is not ready. Oh yeah, and another thing, if you know NLP's, AI cannot think and act like a human being either. Like it cannot think and process information like we do. It doesn't have a brain that processes information like how we think, how we take a concept and digest it, mentally, and then and our whole mental process that we undergo when we do that. So I'm not like an expert scientist in that area, but I know my mental processes, and I know AI can't do that because when you learn how AI right now works under the hood, it's kind of it's somewhat um, the magic goes away because it gives a good illusion that it can think and process information, but it can't. All it's doing is stringing tokens together, making a guess, best guess based on whatever data it was trained on. So like that's basically what it's doing. It's just a best guess, and it's just stringing numbers together, and it gives you the illusion that it can think and process information, but it's really just yeah, it's really that's really all it's doing. It's not, the magic goes away once you know what it's doing. All right, so how much difference would it make here? 70,000 a year, and you can set up your office on a couch like this guy. Make a lot of difference, to a lot of people, because most people in most of their jobs don't even make 70,000 a year. And this is just starting, of course. This is just entry level, junior level. Um, and but me, I'd fall asleep, so this would be a bad idea for me. I either got to stand, because I have my setup right now where I got one of those desks that raise up, so it's like a standing desk, and then I have my PC and my second monitor, and even that, yeah, and even that, what happened? Yeah, yeah, everything's geared up to stand up because it helps me stay a little more alert, but there's a trade-off. So like when I have my big desk, and when I was sitting down all the time, my lower back was killing me like bad, and and it hurt, and I was like, man, I'm like hurting my back, and I have an old back injury already, so it wasn't helping. So then we got this stand-up desk. I'm like, I'm gonna try this stand-up desk, and it's been going good, but there's a trade-off because now my feet are killing me from standing all day. So it's kind of like you gotta like just check it out, see what you do. But this guy's pretty slick because he's laying down in his couch coding. Except me, I'd fall asleep. I'm not even like I'd get really comfortable and fall asleep. But just looking at his setup, I'm kind of like, maybe, but no, because I mean, yeah, I'd get too comfortable and feel like nap time. So, but if it works for you, I mean, and in a way, like if you think about it, look at his position. If you're able to stay awake and alert, there's no foot pain, probably no back pain. Maybe your neck, maybe depending, on the pillows because he's using the pillows. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then I don't know how, like maybe I don't know how well your circulation is standing up compared to laying down, all that stuff. For your hands going numb and things like that. But it works for him, right? So why is there so much demand? And I'm just gonna highlight that part right there because it is hard because the learning curve is high. Because coding's hard. It starts off easy and it gets complex. That's what anything like. Um, every when you're learning everything, when you first start learning at a beginner level, it's all pretty easy. Even the JavaScript's pretty easy, I'm gonna say, because the programming language is actually the hardest part. When you're new, but then everything starts getting complex, and when you see the code you got to be writing to get to that other level, like from the like because you take your code and it goes through like a filter. So like when you're depending on how you're working it through or what system you have in place, depending on the people you're working with or the company or whatever, um, you got a process. It's like a filter where you're writing code for development, and then you got to take it through this filter where you're testing it and optimizing it, and then it gets to a level where it transforms to a production level where it's been optimized and written to the best that you can get it to that really high level, and then that's the code that you're pushing to production. So, like, just to put it in a nutshell, that's similar to a process where you're taking code. So it's not that the first piece of code you write is the code that you're gonna push on, to production, because that would be maybe as a beginner you might do that because they don't show you any better, and that's good for when you learn, like when you build your first like a portfolio website, and you spent, I don't know how much time, but you spent your time building it, and then you don't have that process, so you just, hey, it works, I'm pushing it, to production. Basically, I'm gonna make it live, so you're gonna go host it somewhere, and you don't know any better because you just learned. Nobody taught you how to go through that type of process. Maybe you didn't even learn the algorithms and data structures, big O analysis, and things like that, so that way you can make the best determination depending on what your functionality is in your programming language. But that's a whole other concept. We're not going to get into that. The 4 doors was one. Number one is a luxury option, computer science degree, 4 years of your life. Spend a bunch of money because either it's going to come out of your pocket or maybe it came out of your parents' savings, or whatever they had set up for you while they were raising you. Maybe someone else in your family, an inheritance or something. I've heard of, I've met different students while going to college that throughout my lifetime where I've heard different stories of how they're going to college. And some people are lucky, they have parents that pay for it. They don't have to pay for it themselves, or maybe they had a grandparents that paid for it, or they got an inheritance and they used some of that money for college. And but that's very few. Most of us have to figure it out. And I'm a university student too, and I ended up qualifying for grants. So at the end, when I do graduate, I'm gonna owe half as much as a normal person would otherwise pay or owe because of the grants, because I qualified for grants. So yeah, but it's a lot of money. You're looking to invest a lot of money uh, in college, but I'm gonna tell you that okay, so this right here, it says receive a broad education touching on a lot of branches in software engineering in general. I think that's a little bit inaccurate because you do receive a pretty broad education, but it's not like so general. It's more in depth. So like it's not so general where it just touches on these little things and then just keeps moving. At the university I attend, it goes in depth. So when they cover a subject, they cover it very deeply, and they spend more time on it than a coding boot camp or anywhere else that I've been. Um, because it's 4 years. If you think about it, you're studying a subject for 4 years. At a coding boot camp, you're going to be studying something for 6 months to a year, depending on the coding boot camp. Most of them these days are 6 to 8 months. They're making them shorter and shorter because I guess they're figuring out that most people don't want to put in too much time, which sucks because the more time you put in, actually, the better you're going to get. All right, so the traditional boot camp is just like the coding boot camps. The who I work with, my sponsor, their coding boot camp is nowhere near this high in cost. So, but anyway, that's why I went there because it was very affordable and they had a structure and they were flexible where you can do part time or full time as you needed. Right here, these boot camps prices right here are for like there's these big boot camps out there where you can learn the code and they're like 10, 20, 30, $40,000. I've seen a one boot camp up to like 50, $60,000. And then you have some agencies or boot camps or companies where they're going to teach you how to code, but they do an income share agreement, which means that they guarantee you a job, but you got to give up part of your income, part of your salary. So, like in other words, if they get you a $90,000 a year salary, they're probably going to expect a third of that. I have a friend that did this path, and senior dev. Now a senior dev, but when she started, she wasn't a senior dev, and she gave up for years a large chunk of her salary to go through that program. But the program she went through requires you to have a college degree first. But not all of them do. There's some boot camps you'll find out there where they're willing to do an income share agreement. Um, if you know what I mean, if they see if they approve you, if they find that you're fit for the program, that you're likely to finish the program. Teach yourself online. So that one's self-taught, where you can spend nothing if you want. And there's people in this area that are like purists. So I've met people that are like self-taught purists. Like in other words, completely self-taught. Like they're not looking for help anywhere. They're on there grinding by themselves, doing the research themselves, doing the studying themselves, everything themselves, trying to figure it all out themselves. And some of them do figure it all out themselves. So this path is the tougher one because you don't really have any structure except for whatever structure you develop. You don't have any deadlines except for whatever deadlines you develop. You know, what I mean, it's like all you're just there all by yourself. You don't have any instructors or professors. You don't have a mentor. You don't have anybody. It's just you. And I have another friend, actually a couple friends. One's a senior developer, and one does WordPress on the side while she codes private projects, I believe, on her own time. But one became a WordPress developer. The other one is a senior developer at some other company. But they both tried the same approach. Period. It's like the guy doesn't regret it, of course. So the senior developer, he doesn't regret it at all, and he was able to pick it up, and it worked for him, and he's had a long career. And he did it at a time like he's been a developer for at least over 20 years now. The girl, the friend I know, she said that she spent 4 years self-taught, and if she would have just not have been stubborn like that, she would have learned everything she learned in 4 years in just 6 months at a coding boot camp. So that's the difference. Is like you got to know yourself, how quickly you're what time you want to invest, and how quickly you're able to learn and see what the best option is. Or you can get a mentor. There's the other option. So this one is where it's cost affordable. You get one-on-one sessions with the mentor. Um, we already know where to start. Like in other words, and I'm talking about my program. So I do a full stack JavaScript mentorship program. So we already have like a structure in place. We already know where to start, where to finish, or where you got to be to finish, where you got to be hireable. We do like interview prep, do mock interviews, make sure that that you can pass a technical interview and things like that. Mentor is always available, so like I always make myself available on the DM um, when we're not in session, but when we're in session, I'm live with you, where we do live programming. We're basically pair programming. You're gonna watch me demonstrate something, and then I'm gonna have you, I'm gonna put you to work, make sure that you're learning what you need to be learning, and then I don't just move on. So like I don't like just throw a bunch of concepts at you and keep pushing you to move forward. I make sure that you understand the concepts before we keep moving forward. All right, so and the good thing is like I've had different students use mentorship for different reasons. Like one student needed to pass their JavaScript class at the university, so they took it with me for a month. Someone wanted to get job ready, so they went 6 months, and then when they felt they were job ready, they now they got our support because I told them as soon as you get an interview, we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and run some mock interviews and try to get you as ready as possible as we can. So like it just depends. It depends on what your goals are. You can use these to your benefit for anything, or even if you want to just check it out. So like we have our own rates that we offer. Check it out. All right, so we have these average completion rates that take your online learning from 5 to 15% to 70 to 85%. So the coding bootcamp I work with, they talk about these 7 key strategies to help you succeed in your online learning. And these 7 key strategies are built into their program. So like that's why they mention them, because the whole thing is that when we go over these key strategies, we're gonna go over them pretty quickly. But you want to look for these in your online learning because these are the strategies that are going to help you actually succeed, have a better chance of success. Um, one of them is your investment, your time, and your financial investment. Because, like for example, university, it's really really expensive, right? And you would say that someone would be dumb to go and invest, over $100,000 for a bachelor's degree and turn around and squander that, right? I mean, think about that. Like when you're taking that big of an investment, like you're gonna feel that every day. Like tomorrow I start my class. I had a 2 week break from summer semester. We got 2 weeks off. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to start. And I've been a 4.0 GPA every semester since I've started. I've been on the dean's list and the president's list. And I've just been going like hard in the paint, like doing my best. I'm not gonna squander that. There's no way in hell. And that's how I feel about it because of the investment. And it was the same with the boot camp. At the boot camp, they provided me, I qualified for zero down until I graduate. And then I had to make monthly payments once I graduated the coding boot camp. And I still took it serious. Even though I had zero down up front, I knew that whether I fail or not, they're still going to charge me something. So I was there every day doing what I had to do every day. Um, just I made sure I got my good grade, and I finished the boot camp. You got to show up every day. So that's one thing we talk about, because when you have skin in the game, a real investment, you're gonna feel it. You feel like I got to be there. Um, you need real deadlines, and this is the other one, is like real deadlines. Um, because like I don't know, it's not the same when you go to a course and it's a fake deadline. And like for example, on platforms like Udemy, or when you watch YouTube courses, or just anything, like even these some of these courses you have online, they'll say you can do, you can get this course and you can finish each section in a week, or every day, or each month. It's up to you. And some people, it's a selling point. They try to sell people on that. Like, in other words, the deadlines are whatever you want to make them, but not everybody's capable of finishing them. Most people, they just forget about it, or I can do it whenever I want. So they'll drag it out all year, or maybe longer. But I can do it whenever I want. Who cares? But at a coding boot camp, at a university, you're not going to be able to get away with that. So like you're going to have real deadlines, and if you don't meet them, you're going to fail. Um, and it gives you that sense of urgency with the deadlines. Like it has a clear start and stop time. In other words, there's intervals in between, but you have a clear start and stop time. Like, okay, we're going to start this concept or whatever it is that we're building this week, and by this day it's due. And if I don't, there's consequences. And so, you know what I mean? And that's like something that keeps you, it also develops responsibility, I guess you could say, because when you're at a job, you got to be responsible enough to finish on the deadlines, unless you have a damn good excuse why you're not. You need to combine synchronous and asynchronous learning. So these are JavaScript programming concepts I'm not going to get into. But basically, you need to have coursework that you can go through at your own pace, and then you need to have coursework that is done by other students in the same course collectively and with your instructor. So like the collectively, like how I said, like coursework done by other students collectively, you're also going to have an instructor. So New Camp does that, where you have coursework you do on your own online, and then you have class meetings where you meet up, and then you're engaging with other students, and then your instructor is going to oversee what you're doing. Same thing at the university. You're going to have a time where you're doing things online yourself, where you have self study, and you have assignments you got to do on your own, projects you got to build on your own. But there's going to be meeting times throughout the week with your professor and the other students, and you're expected to show up if you and take advantage of that. And sometimes the professors are nice. They'll be like, hey, it's optional because I'm going to record it. But some of them aren't. Some of them say you need to be here. I'm not going to record. And if you miss out, you miss out. You fail, you fail. It's your responsibility to be here on time. And that's just how it is. Um, and you need peer pressure, but good kind. So the good kind, where people are pushing each other to grow and improve and do the work. So like, well, it depends on the environment you're in, the learning environment. So like whether it's a boot camp, uh, university, or even my mentorship program, we try to create like an environment where you have that a good environment, where we're pushing you to grow, improve, and we're making sure you do the work, because we're live. Like when we do our mentorship program, we do 5 days a week, 2 hours a day in the evenings. That's for the group setting, unless you want the luxury of one-on-one mentorship, but for the group mentorship, and we make sure like we're on there together, like we're getting it done together. We're not. There's no slacking going on in there, because if I sense anybody's there slacking, I call them out on it and put them on the spot. All right, so you and your work need to be seen. So the other one is your work has to be seen, because you get to that uh, reinforcement that you did right, or it gives you the important feedback that you actually did wrong, or that you could have done something better, or that maybe there was a better way to do it. I could say it, I guess. But you need your work when your work's seen by somebody that's already experienced. You get feedback that you're not gonna. That's it's just valuable. Like you don't, and you get that to some extent at the universities and the boot camps, depending on who your instructor is. You're going to see it, either more or less in depth, but you still get your work seen, and you get the reinforcement. And if you did anything wrong, then you're told to, what is the changes you got need to make and why, and you got to resubmit. We do the same thing in the mentorship program, except it's immediate feedback. You're gonna get it like right away. Like I as soon as I see something going on, because I can sense it. I'm really good at working with people. It's like right away. You're gonna get like an instant reaction from me. Um, you need end of course incentives, and we already know what all those are. Some people graduate, celebrate, get that piece of paper, and you finish. It's a good goal, especially if you did 4 years at a university. I mean, geez, that's a long commitment. For me, it's going to be 5 years almost, or about 5 years at the university because I'm double majoring, and I got to get more credits than a normal bachelor's degree. I got to get about 20, almost 20 more credits than a normal bachelor's. So I'm gonna be going. I got to do extra time. So it's probably gonna take me about, yeah, probably about another extra year. But that's fine. Yeah, I think it's gonna be worth it, especially with the AI classes I'm learning. Um, But think about that. Not just those. You have these programs where there's guaranteeing you a job. Like I said, like the income share agreement. So like that's a good incentive. I mean, if you're willing to make that sacrifice. So if you're willing to take a hit on your salary like that for a program like that, they're guaranteeing you a job if you finish. If you finish, but you're going to be held to a standard the whole time, and and that's a good incentive because it might push you to keep showing up and to succeed. It might give you the energy or the, like, I mean, the boost, that extra boost to just keep going, to keep pushing. And it's the same thing with even boot camps without the income share agreements. They might say, hey, you finished top in your class, we'll probably recommend you to one of our partners and get hired. You might have that luxury too. Some people get it. There's different things, different programs out there. Um, or even just the fact of just I got a new skill set and I can apply it however I want. Like you could build whatever you want, do whatever you want, work on open source if you want, see where if you can get paid out there, be an entrepreneur and start your own thing and go contracting or whatever you want to do, freelancing, or even apply for a company, or do all that while you're applying to companies. Don't waste your time. You can stay active by building and trying to monetize projects, or doing all these other things I talked about while you're applying for a company. Um, you need assignments that actually help you get a job. So yeah, that's the key. Is that some of these programs there's that you see online, especially these really cheap, uh, courses they sell online. Some of them don't really have assignments that actually help you get a job. But at the university I attend, I know they do, and most universities, like most major universities, and then at coding boot camps, that's how they should be structured. So I know New Camp Coding Boot Camp is, because their whole goal of a coding boot camp is to get you job ready as quickly as possible. That's the whole goal of it, is like, hey, we're trying to get you job ready, entry level as quickly as possible. So they should, no matter what boot camp you go to, they should be actually have assignments there that actually get you a job. And then especially the projects you're building, you don't want to just build the projects, the general project everybody's building. You want to build projects that are unique, because it's the unique projects that are going to get um, prospective employers, like it's going to get their attention. It's not going to be the project that everybody did in class. It's going to be something unique that you did. All right, the options that check all these boxes, of course, New Camp. But besides that, we'll go over their boot camps real quick for anybody interested. We got web dev fundamentals. That's not going to get you job ready, but if you got zero experience, that gets your foot in the door. Like, it gets your feet wet, and then you kind of feel like, well, like, I like this or not. I like web dev or not. I'm gonna keep going. Then you got front end, back end, full stack, and you got cybersecurity, which is something completely different. Don't mix that up with web dev. That's different. And then job hunting, the job hunting boot camp, where they get you interview prepped, your networking. They get your resume ready, your social profiles ready. They keep you studying algorithms and data structures, so that way you stay fresh on that stuff when you're ready for an interview. And then you have the complete software engineering boot camp, which combines all of the major boot camps into one, which gets you the fundamentals, full stack, back end, job hunting. And we're not going to get too much into that, but they are affordable. So like I went there because they were the cheapest boot camp they're on online boot camp, but they're the cheapest boot camp that offered, like, because I did their full stack program, and I was looking at other boot camps to see what their full stack programs were, and they pretty much had the same curriculars, similar stacks, and offered the similar structure with an instructor and these things that were online boot camps, and new camp was the cheapest. They were the best. They were the most affordable, and then I qualified with the pay zero a month until I graduated, so that made it even more, because they just approved me and I was ready to start. You know what I mean? Like, of course they do a credit check and all that stuff, but they approved me and I was ready to start after that. I was just ready to go. So that was what got me is that I was like, okay, when you think about the grand scheme of things, and you're going to a 6 to 8 or 9 month boot camp, however long it is, depending on, at the time mine was different timeline compared to now, and it was a little more expensive than now, but it was still cheap compared to all those other boot camps. And right now, new camps prices are even lower, and yeah, it's really affordable. And then if you use my link for new camp, I can get you the early bird pricing, which can be, depending on the boot camp, it could be anywhere from $40 all the way up to like $400 off the boot camp. And then I can get you 5% off the registration fee. And then, of course, we got the Dark Mode Does mentorship program, currently 50% off. You can go to my website and go to the mentorship section, sorry there, and check it out. Get the information there, and you can reach out to me. There's links there to make your first payment, and it'll, with PayPal, I'll get your information, and all you gotta do is DM me, and we'll be ready to start as soon as you're ready. But we ain't gonna go over all this again. We just went over that. So last couple slides here. Embark on your journey here. I hope you guys, those of you guys that are just starting, I hope you just keep pushing forward, because it is good, it is rewarding, and there's a lot you can do with it. Especially if you start liking the logic of programming, you're gonna love it. All right, so this is Q&A time, uh, at least for this part of the event. So for this part of the event, we're doing Q&A. Anybody want to do a Q&A? Anybody got questions for anything? Oh, Doma 2K's back. Is there? Of course, Irina. And oh, Katie. Hi, Katie. All right. So, any questions? Let me look at the chat. So, Bubbles, recent software graduate, inter- interning as a cloud admin. I'm very much interested in building career in cloud computing, technical skills, especially in C sharp. So, I'm hoping to get to learn across. Yeah, that's great. Bubbles, yeah, C sharp. I don't know if anybody here is doing C sharp, but like I said, the programming concepts are kind of go across programming languages. So there's people here that can still help you out. If you want to post something in one of the channels here about C sharp, um, just the syntax is going to be different, but a lot of things in C sharp are going to be similar, especially because it's going to be good to go. All right, let me see. Uh, Oh, job market for biotech. All right, that's Ben. Yeah, Ben. I mentioned it in the slides because I still can't lie to people. I still gotta tell people the reality of what's going on in the tech industry with the hiring right now. And it's not as like you know what I mean. It's not like they're just hiring. Like, it's not gonna make you feel like it's so easy to just get hired right now. It's a tough process, because these different companies have like 3, 5, or 7, some of them even 9-step stage processes, and depending on, it's just pretty, I think it's pretty nuts, pretty outrageous, but at the same time, like for example, if I have a client that needs I don't know, an app, for example, and we're building it from scratch, a high paying client, and I need to hire somebody or a couple of people, I'm gonna want to make sure I hire somebody highly qualified too, somebody that I know knows what they're doing, and so I'm gonna drag them out through the mud a little bit. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but I'm gonna put them to the test. Like, I'm gonna want to make sure that they can actually do what they say they do too, and that's the purpose for that. So that's why it's tough. But that's why I mention it, because technical interviews are tough. They're not easy. And if you're not studying concepts like data structures, algorithms, big O analysis, and things like that, um, for and learning how to actually um, use those processes while you're programming, then you're gonna struggle bad in a technical interview. You're gonna fail. Um, Interdisciplinary studies degree, minor in computer science and a minor in English writing. She's on with a data science. I changed to a comp sci major with the English. 30 more credits to complete the degree, so I should be more expensive. Yeah, you know, my chances to get a better grad program. Well, it depends on where you're going. Katie, it's all right. I had to step out for a minute, so I'm not sure if you already answered my question. I'll DM later. No, no, you're fine. I haven't answered your question. I'm getting to it now. So, from what I'm seeing, it depends because if you're going into web dev, like I've seen some people, like there's a lot of web dev jobs out there that don't even require a degree. And but a bachelor degree that even wasn't technical related, like that wasn't even software related, have has helped people. Like I knew one guy, he was a business major, had a business degree, and he took the boot camp with me at New Camp Coding Boot Camp. And because he had that business degree, that bachelor in business, it helped him get a job fast as a React developer, front end React developer. So like it was just the fact that he had a bachelor's degree that helped him get in the door quicker, and he even admitted that. Like some people were like, "Damn, dude, you got a job quick. What happened?" And he said straight up that his degree in business helped him. So it's hard to say. Me, I'm a completely like technical software nerd. So I'm gonna tell you get the computer science with an AI major. That's just me though, because that's what I'm doing. Uh, Especially how big AI is right now, or how popular it is, and what everybody's doing with AI right now. That's what I would say. But I'm not going to say that if you do get English writing or anything else, that it's a bad move. I mean, you're still getting the computer science. So, and then you got to think about, yeah, what's going to be more expensive in the end, because I don't know if you're paying out of pocket or if you're going to pay when you graduate. And yeah, depending on what you do, yes, it's definitely going to be more expensive or not. Like for me, my degree is going to be more expensive because it's a double major, because I plan on double majoring. If I didn't double major, I'd be done here soon. I'd be done here soon, and but it'd just be a computer science bachelor degree. And I wanted to stand out a little different with a double major in artificial intelligence. Yeah. So even Irina, uh, my woman, she's like, no, you got to get the AI degree because see, like, there's like too much competition out there. Not everybody's going the extra mile and getting that AI with the computer science. There's a lot of people getting just computer science by itself. So that's what I would say. Like, find any look for anything that's like if you're trying to get into software, look for anything that's going to give you the better edge. Besides, like your how the knowledge how you're going to apply it, because um, like even you're going to get put to the test no matter what. Like, so whether you have a college degree or not, when you go for that technical interview, you're gonna get the rundown. You know what I mean? When it comes time for that technical interview, they're gonna put you through it just like anybody else. So they're not gonna say, oh, you have a computer science degree, you don't have to do this technical interview. It's not like that. Like you're still gonna get put through it. But it could really, or you might end that, and these sometimes these college degrees, there's some jobs out there that you have to have a college degree. So like I've seen some of these software jobs out there, whether they're web dev or not, it's just not as prevalent in web dev, but there's a lot of jobs out there software related that are not web dev that require a college degree. And so you'll have more doors open besides web dev. So you can like say, I want to get into web dev and then end up getting somewhere else. You never know. I've seen people do that where they planned for one field and ended up in another, but they're still programming, they're still coding. So it just depends. I've had some people they um, they go to full stack and they end up a back end or front end developer. They don't always end up a full stack developer. So some people do. All right, so we got What's the difference between front and back end dev? Like, what do the languages listed get you for each of those goals? Focus. Oh, Benton. So the difference is, like in a nutshell, front end, you're making what the site looks like making it look pretty, I guess you could say. On the back end, you're doing all the logic, like all the tough logic. It's a lot harder. So like, and you're interacting with like APIs or building databases and interacting with those databases using servers and things like that. Or you could be you could do something like cloud computing or whatnot. But back-end developers, it's a lot. So front-end development, the learning curve's high, but back-end development, the learning curve is even higher. And then if you want to be a full stack developer, you got to have both of those things combined. So the whole purpose when I started full stack, my whole purpose for starting full stack was that I wanted to get the full. I wanted to see what was going on. I wanted to get the full experience. So I wanted to pick. So when I started with zero experience, I did the full stack program because I wanted to see what is front end, what is back end, what is full stack, and I wanted to have more options where I could apply myself or what I can do. The the benefit of me doing full stack is that I could build any project I want by myself. I don't have to. In other words, like if you're just a back end developer, you don't know how to build a front end. If you're just a front end developer, you know jack dilly about building back end. So you're reliant on someone else's skill set. Me as a full stack developer, I'm reliant by choice. I could build the whole thing myself if I want because I have that ability. So that's like the benefit too. So it depends. And then me throughout my life, I've always been an entrepreneur. Like I started at a company at some point, but I've always developed my own business no matter what industry that I was working in. So, like me and my stepdad started a construction company when I was young too. That was while I was still a teenager. And then we kind of did that together. And then when I was working as an architect, when I was a young adult, I was working as a junior architect designing custom homes. When I started my own architect firm, we merged it with the construction company, and then I've done other things too. But besides all that, now I got into software, and now I started dark mode dev. So I've always been like entrepreneur at heart. So for someone that's more entrepreneur at heart, it'd be really important if you're gonna do software, if you learn full stack, just to give you, just to help you with the you know some pointer there, so that way so you get an idea. Because when you're locked into one side or the other, you're going to be reliant on someone else's skill set, and so you'll be more likely to have to partner with people to get a project done if you don't have skills as a full stack developer. Let's see. I hope that helps, Ben. Oh yeah, so internships and apprenticeships, that's a tough one, Brian, because That's a tough one because there's a lot of internships and apprenticeships that you see out there that are only for college grads or college students, people that are currently college students. So when I'm out there looking at different opportunities while I'm a student, um, apprenticeships or internships, they like most of them just call themselves internships. Apprenticeship is a little bit different because an apprenticeship, they're actually taking you under somebody's guidance or under somebody's wing, and they're actually training you like really, really more intensely than an internship. But an internship is still like they kind of have their distinct differences, but there's the majority of them online are for college students. So that's been the downside. I haven't seen any internships for anybody that doesn't have a degree. And the ones that I have seen, which are very few, have been at tech companies where they want to be unpaid internships. So I would say like if you don't need to get paid, if you're willing to give your time to somebody as an unpaid intern, then you should do it. Like if you don't need to spend, like if you know what I mean, the time you're going to spend there, I don't know whether it's usually part time, maybe full time. Depends on how much they're asking you for. Like if somebody's asking you for full time at an unpaid internship, I'd kind of be a little weary. I'd kind of be like, well, what the hell, you know what I mean? Because I got a lot of other things going on. I don't know if I could do 8 hours a day without being paid. That's tough for most people, but there are some people that maybe they're still they still have support somehow. Like their bills are being paid. Maybe their family, or maybe maybe they're in a relationship where where someone's willing to make that sacrifice, like I'll pay the bills and you just do your thing, then you're gonna want to take advantage of something like that because that's still gonna get you experience that you're not gonna get anywhere else. So like when I did 8 months at an apprenticeship, it was intense training and pair programming with senior software engineers, and that was like an experience that I couldn't get anywhere else. I didn't get that at a boot camp. I didn't get that at a university. It took me to like a whole other level. And so like that's why I tell people like if you can get that experience somewhere, even if it's unpaid, if it's part time though, I would say if it's even part time or even just a couple hours, like just something, look, see what's out there. If it's something that's like feels realistic and it's unpaid, I would still take it because you're gonna, depending on the environment too, because you still don't know till you experience it what the people are gonna be like. If they're willing to actually sit there and actually help you learn the process and everything else going on there. If, as long as they're not just saying, yeah, just pick up some task and do it. You know what I mean? But I guess it depends on your level and whether you feel like you need the extra training or not. But like it does help. So like some people, like at my university, there's some people that graduated ahead of me, and some of them are already working either for government agencies or even for other companies, and it was because they were able to get an internship before they graduated or an apprenticeship before they graduated, so they already had some type of experience. And then the university at the same time, if you're one of the top grads, they pretty much give you letters of recommendation and basically try to get you a job like ASAP. um, so yeah, that's a tough question there. Yeah, I hear you, Brian, how you said like I'll work for cheap just to get professional experience because that's how I felt. Like for me, like even for my company, I was willing to go the extra mile and help people even if it costed me more of my time just to give my clients a good experience and be able to, build my reputation and my brand and things like that. Like I mean, I was willing to make like those types of sacrifices too. So I hear you. But like, yeah, the apprenticeship I had was paid, but it wasn't high paid. It was low pay, but it was still worth the time I was spending there. But like even if I were to run into an internship or apprenticeship and I felt like it could really benefit me, maybe part time, maybe less. I would think if it was unpaid, depending on the experience. Me, I would lean more towards on that, if especially if it was AI related. But for you, I'm not sure because I'm not sure what your interests are as far as that. But yeah, check that out. That's hard to say because I'm like seriously, a lot of those type of things are out there for university students. So that's something that university students can really take advantage of. But there are some out there for people that ain't. On top of comp sci, that's part of the reason I'm going for a grad degree with an AI focus. I want to have wide net to cast. Yeah, yeah, I hear you. Uh, so they don't. All right. So I was hoping the university that you told me you went to initially had like some kind of double majoring system. So maybe you should ask. Or well, it's probably too late now. But yeah, like my university, I ended up finding out from a professor because I told him I was interested in AI because I had an AI professor, a professor that spent, decades programming in AI. I said, well, you can just double major. I said, what? And that's how I found out. And it was during my freshman year. And that's when I ended up declaring my double major and been pushing for it ever since. And then so I'm taking a mixture of classes for computer science and AI. Depending every semester, I have an AI class, a computer science class, and maybe a gen ed class. Like it's different. Some web dev classes because the university I go to does provide some web dev stuff, so I take those where I can too. Uh, oh, I hear you. Yeah, Katie, that's the other good thing. If you keep your good grades up, you might get a professor that'll offer you a letter of recommendation. So most of my professors, not all of them, have offered me letters of recommendation. So your husband's right. So like because of the experience with them working with me and they see what I'm building and what I do, they've even asked me to help other students. So like they've asked me, hey, my hands are full. Can you help these other students? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then, some of them, because they were impressed, are like, hey, I'll write you a letter of recommendation for whatever you need. And I'm like, all right. Like, it's a plus. So yeah, you just got to try to, I know some people, I'm not saying you do, but I've sensed while going to university that some people have like, they're too shy to interact with other people too much. But I would say don't be that way. Try to interact with as many people, especially the professors or anybody that's the faculty, whoever. But try to like network as much as you can, especially with other students. Like um, you never know how you can help each other. And then you'll get good attention. Like if you're able to, like if a student's struggling and you're able to help them, that helps with you. Or like the university I go to, another good example is they didn't hire me, of course, because they thought I was too overqualified. That's what they called it. And because they wanted to give a younger student the opportunity, and because I'm running my own company. So like, but they do student tutors where I could have worked for the university part time as a tutor, tutoring students and programming. But I didn't get the opportunity because they wanted to give a younger student the opportunity, and because they know I run my own business. So they look at it as I have some income, so they're not worried about it. Pretty much, I guess that's what I was able to get. Try to glean from that experience because, and then one of them told me I was overqualified. Like I just know too much. I guess I don't know how that works. I don't know why that's a bad thing, but for some people, it's just an excuse to tell you no. I guess. But let me see. Yeah, yeah, you'll have to look into that. All right, so we have Tara. Have you heard of a wide variety of boot camps for those without a degree? Um, there's a lot of boot camps. Like all these coding boot camps don't require a degree. I haven't heard of a coding boot camp that does require you to have a degree. I don't know if I'm understanding your question right or not, Tara. You'll have to let me know. So yeah, there's coding boot camps you can go to. I'm gonna be posting this as long as the recording checks out. I'll be posting the recording, and you'll be able to rewatch the recording on the Dark Mode Devs YouTube channel. I'll post. I'll make sure I post it right away, and then so you can rewatch it and see where I was talking about that. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. All right, so let me see. Have you heard a wide variety of? Oh yeah, I think App Academy requires a college degree, but I have not heard of any others like that. Okay, so App Academy. All right, so I haven't really. I think I have heard of them, but I haven't looked into their requirements. But if they do require a college degree, um, the rest of them don't. So like I was saying, the boot camp that I graduated from, and then the one that I work for, New Camp Coding Boot Camp. Um, they don't require a college degree. You can go in there without a college degree, and then they have some of the most affordable boot camps. And I can show you the link. I can show you the link for that, and I can put you in touch with a student advisor there that'll walk you through the process and everything if you want, and then you can get in and you can see whether you're interested in that boot camp or not. It might help you out. You can let me know. I'll send you that information. I can send you a link to schedule a meeting with the student services there. They will help you, and then I can send you my links. That way you can look at the website, and if you decide that hey man, this boot camp's cool, I want to go to it. My link will get you all a bunch of discounts on the boot camp too. But you'll want to probably rewatch this video too for the info. Um, Let me see. That's pretty cool. Yeah, for Katie, the if you identify female, yeah, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, if you're in Seattle, yeah, yeah, that's not bad. That's cool. All right. Anybody else? Any questions before we move on to the project, the group project? So we have a group project we're working on here on our uh, network here, our community, our dev community, and I wanted to go over that. And then we got Brendan. Brendan too. Brendan has an update too. Do I have any recommendations? Like, what do you mean, like recommendations to like any particular company or things you should be learning?
No, hi. I, f- I forgot your name. Was
Yeah, Fernando.
Fernando?
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
Fernando. No,
I seen you here
I just
before.
moved.
This is what your second
Yeah.
second time, yeah.
Yes. 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 I was here. I think it was like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, it was a little while ago, but
I
I
was.
remember you.
Yeah. 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 Thank you. Yeah. So I mean, I explained last time I completed a full stack web development boot camp. I was in Switzerland for 10 years. I transitioned in the IT and the pandemic. But I started also university last year, and I'm almost done my first 2 years. I mean, it's crazy to say how you could you do in 2 years, because I also did some certifications on the side. Uh,
Yeah, there's a lot
like
you
I
can
did,
do
I
in
could,
2 years. There's a lot you
yeah,
can
yeah,
do
yeah,
in two
yeah,
years if you're
yeah.
dedicated.
So
Yeah, you can
it's
accomplish a
it's
lot.
yeah, so so if I would say to anyone that is starting out, I would say you can do it step by step. I think it's a long process, takes time, but I try to get as much experience as
As you
like
can.
even
Yeah.
yeah, as you can, right? Even for example, I worked for an Italian company remote for a year, 2022, 2023. I started as an internship, and then I went as a full stack. I continued with them as a full stack developer, and then they decided not to continue because I was working remote for them. um, and I was losing money, but for me it was more important to get into the industry. So now I wasn't struggling to find a job in the last year because I was moving also. My wife, she's American, and she found an opportunity within her company. Um, so that was the reason why I struggle also to find a job, because in between, like after the last 6 months, she already had a job, and she was working remote for the same company. So transitioning to another country, so that's also took me a little bit.
Yeah,
So
I think
now I
the
find,
yeah, I think well, like one
yeah,
of the things that, because like I've noticed from like a United States perspective, like because I've like networked with, I have like a community of developers that I network with besides like the community I'm building. Um, and there's was a lot of developers that I knew that were like entry level or junior entry slash entry, same about the same. So when we say entry level, we mean the same thing, junior level. They some of them put in like one of them literally put in almost 1,000 applications before they got their first job. Like that's how
mm,
crazy it is. So like you have to have the persistence and the energy and that drive. You have to like be relentless, like straight up. Like you
yeah,
have to be building and then you have to be studying to stay on your A game for the technical interview. But these people were applying hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of applications. Like that's how the job market is right now. But I've heard it's not
yeah,
just like that in the tech industry. I heard it's like that in a lot of different industries right now. But like the tech industry, yeah, most people that they just feel it because we're isolated to the tech industry because that's mainly the industry most of us are locked in. But like it's actually when I've networked with people, it's actually in more than just the tech industry that where people are having to apply to, hundreds of jobs before they get a job. That's how it is in the tech industry right now, where you're not even gonna hear back from most of these places. You just need to um, look at it, even if it sounds like it's like the recommendation I got was even or that like from people that went through that same process is that like even if it sounds like it's a little bit overqualified, still apply for it because I've had someone in the network where where they have the same where they ran into a job that said the same thing 5+ years experience blah 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 and they didn't have any experience but they ended up getting hired and it's because
mm,
somehow they got the employer's interest
mm,
and got past it were able to perform well in the technical interview so like I think that some of those places it does suck how they put that especially because they're putting that level of experience higher, but I wouldn't let that deter you. Like you got to be relentless.
yeah, yeah,
I think most of them do it too on purpose because they're trying to they're trying to
to
bring
discourage
down the
people.
numbers. Yeah, they're trying to bring down the numbers
Mm.
because it's oversaturated. So like if you think about it from their perspective too, it sucks because like you post a position out there and you got, you know, hundreds or thousands of applicants. How do you go through that and find the best applicant? It's very time consuming and tedious. And before that, they weren't having that problem. It's like you want to get the most experienced person you can that's worth your money, that you feel is worth your time and your money, that's going to benefit your company, you know, a valuable asset, in other words. And it's hard to do that when you, especially when you got people, hundreds of people applying that ain't even qualified. So there's some people that they're not even qualified, they're not even job ready, and they either know that and they're applying anyway, or they don't know that because they didn't have anybody that was experienced enough, or they're not networking enough for somebody to let them know, like, hey, you're not job ready yet. You should be working on building and learning more before you start applying for jobs, because there's a lot of people that are applying and they're not even ready yet. Um, but yeah, but yeah, for web dev or JavaScript developer, it's oversaturated. So like especially for front end development, like if you look for a front end developer job, you're gonna be competing with hundreds of applicants all the time. Like it's
So
nuts.
that's why I started a like certification 3 4 months ago in the Google certificate. I said, just want to be not in a situation like this that there are tons of people. Maybe started out as I said, maybe was started out as even IT support, and things that you learn like when you work. I worked on my last job. I learned they just give me the computer and say you figure out, right? And so then you're putting the computer together and installing all the softwares. So it kind of like, I said kind of this, I think, going to support also, like maybe started out somewhere like this. And then once you get in the industry, then you just, like start to on the side, on the side you learn, you have more time to learn, right? So to pick it up other things like you can code, you can like, or you can get some projects. Like I have a project from my ex-boss now. I had to do some AI tool that he asked me to do. I mean, using something similar that you're doing with this side project. uh, I'm using something that I used like a framework that I used a while ago. So I'm rusty a little bit on it, but I just Google sometimes, just Google everything. Like using Django. I'm using Django for, but because in this case, it's I think I was researching about this project and the type of functionalities that he wants. I think this is the right tool for the job. So that's what you need to learn. I mean, or I don't care. I just Google and just find the problem. Now it's breaking the code. I mean, I was while you were talking, I was looking at something that was breaking. So yeah, just figure out things. I think like other people did before. Uh, you know, like everybody just had to. You will figure out things, how things works, and
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
opinion.
but you only really experience that when you're building. So like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, you got to be building. Like that's why I tell people like that even if they've already finished a boot camp, like you got to be still building. Like you should be like even if you have a job somewhere else or you have other priorities, you still got to make it. Like if you're serious about trying to get into the tech industry, you have to like if you're not going to build your own, your own company, or you're not going to be freelancing, well, you still got to be building projects and keeping your keeping everything you learned fresh. Because I'm telling you, you might think that, well, I understood everything in this boot camp and I'll be fine when I apply. But then when it comes time for that technical interview, it's a whole other animal. Especially if you haven't been
Yeah,
practicing, you're gonna be like, damn, because you're gonna notice how much you forgot because you were stale. You weren't doing anything the whole time.
yeah,
Um,
that's that. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I am and some I stopped code like the last couple of months because I was moving and other things altogether. But yeah, you had to keep continuing, or at least you just say, okay, I'm gonna become good at this, and you just have to like differentiate yourself with
yeah, your
from
projects too. You
from
want your projects to
the
be
math.
unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. I
Yeah,
agree
so
with you. I agree.
that's why I tell people if you have any ideas for like projects, even if you're just learning, you can just build them out at beginner level, and then as your knowledge grows, you can build upon that because we got GitHub. you can save your project there, and then you can always go back to it, make it better and better and better and better.
Mm.
And
And
then
and
the projects you are gonna want to have on your portfolio, you want them to be unique. You don't want them to be the same projects everybody's got that they're all copying and pasting off the net. You don't want that.
mm, mm. Yeah, I
Um,
think it's yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. All right. So Chantal and Tara left. So when you guys watch this recording, I noticed that. I'm glad you guys joined us. All right. So oh yeah, moving on to the project. So the community project we got. For those of you guys that are new, I'm still sharing my screen, so I'm gonna go back to that right now. Let me go over there really quick. Let me turn off. Let me turn off PowerPoint. All right. So let's go to Miro. Okay, so we're using Miro. Miro. We're using Miro as a I guess you can call it a poor man's project management. Kind of because I say it that way because it's free, and then it's because I wanted this to be a community project, and I didn't want it coming out of anybody's pocket. So we found Miro, and Miro lets us do. They have a bunch of templates where we can use them and do. Basically, we can use it like a project management software for free, and it hasn't given me any problems for the amount of people we have that are on this Miro board here. But the project is called Ingest IQ AI, and I'll tell you more about it right now, but these are the relevant links for it. We did initially do a brain writing where we were brainstorming ideas. Well, yeah, then I updated, I think I did this one. Well, anyway, yeah, no, I updated it over here. Let me look. All right, so over here, so this is where we're handling the task, but the idea, the project is an AI platform that provides users with detailed information about food and drink ingredients. Users can upload images or enter text prompts, and the AI offers insights on the contents, helping them make informed decisions before consumption. There we go. So that's what the app's supposed to do. It's supposed to be incorporate some AI, and then like for example, if you're gonna go buy some food or some drink, and you want to know what's inside of it, the nutrition label, you can take a picture of the nutrition label and upload it, or you can just type, if it's just one ingredient you're after, you could type in that one ingredient, and then you give it to the AI, and the AI is going to give you some information so you can make a more informed decision about what you're consuming. So that's basically the project that we're working on in the group. These are just documents that are originally uploaded, so don't worry about those right now. We'll worry about those when they come, but this is the basic app flow, this flow chart we did. And then we have our style guide with our color scheme, and then our logos, and and then we have this MVP app flow. It says V2 because it's version 2. In other words, once we get version 1 done, then we can talk about incorporating new features. I didn't want to be, because we got into a rabbit hole early on in the project where we got a little scope creepish, where we were talking about all these new features and how we should do this, and we're gonna make this probably this flow chart that was going to be branch out in 100 different directions if we didn't just stop, because we need to get the basic app down and build that and then build on that as we go. But this is an example of lo-fi prototyping, which is you can do it by pen and paper or with a computer, and that's where we started. We started with lo-fi wireframes or low fidelity wireframes, and we did the mobile version, the desktop, and the tablet version. The tablet version, because you're gonna scroll, and then we have the Figma. If you can view the Figma if you want, it's a little more colorful, a little bit more high fidelity or close to high fidelity, but it's nicer, a lot nicer. And then we have where we're doing this, where we're managing our tasks. Um, the design team already finished their tasks, which was Irina and Tiffany. I put me on there because I'm on all of these, but Irina's the leader on the design team, and they already finished their tasks. They already cracked all their tasks out. If we end up deciding, hey, we want to, maybe somebody has ideas or anything for design, then you can reach out to Irina or whatever, or reach out to me, and then I could relay the message, and then maybe we can talk about going more into design. But at this point, for the MVP level, the design is pretty much done. We haven't gotten to the marketing phase yet. Um, and Irina is really the one that's the more experienced on the design and marketing here, so that's why she's at the top there. And then we have the development, and Irina's really good at development too. So don't take that personal, everybody, wherever your name's at. So it doesn't matter. But I'm on all of these because it's well, I don't need to say it. So we got the development team, and there's a bunch of us on here, but not everybody has actually contributed. So like I've been trying to get people to be a little bit more active on it. The ones that have actually contributed on the development side has been me, Brendan. Let me see who's listed here. Ryan, Zalola, Joseph, and that's it. Um, but we have tasks. These ain't all the tasks. If you see a task on the project, well, because we're going to demo the project right now, just where we're at in the project. So we had tasks that we had, and if you wanted to pick up a task or if you want to create a task, if you see something that we didn't catch yet, just post it on here. I still have to, there's I'm sure there's plenty more tasks we can add to this thing. But this was just for now to get us started, and then you would get this task and you would move it over. Basically, that's what we're doing. We're moving it over, and then we would put our names on it so we know who's working on what. And then when it's finished, then you would move that over to the next section, to the completed task. So where we have um, a few tasks completed, but we have an update. So we probably, I think Brendan got the uh, um, what do you call that, the image to text parsing, I believe, done, and then we can check that out, and then me and him, we're going to go over, eventually we're going to go over how the integration, so we can integrate it into the current code base because I just updated the code base. I had to redo the architecture just to make it more beginner friendly, and then so I have something to demo there, and then I did the single ingredient where we have an input field that limits how much characters somebody can input there. So that way the whole purpose is, hey, you're just gonna put in one ingredient, you're gonna get feedback from the AI. So we got a demo on that too. And then we have our GitHub. This is showing the main branch, but the dev branch is similar. And there's other branches going on here, depending on when you have access to it. Um, But besides that, before we go on to the demo, I just wanted to say that if anybody's interested in the project, you have to send me your what do you call that? You have to send me your email, or actually, let me give you access to the Miro board first, because I don't need your email if I give you the link for the Miro board. Yeah, copy the team invite link. That's right. All right, so I'm gonna put the team invite link here in the chat if you want to check out the Miro board, and then that'll give you access to the Miro board. But if you're interested in contributing any code to the project, then you would have to give me your GitHub username so I can add you to the GitHub. The I changed the GitHub recently, and I just removed a lot of people from it because. Uh, all right, Bubbles, see ya. You have a good Sunday. Gotta jump off. Thank you very much for this. Yep. All right, so I removed a lot of people from the GitHub repo that were not contributing. So that we had like almost 40 people on the GitHub, like literally almost 40 people, and only about a handful of us were contributing. So I pretty much took everybody off that wasn't contributing. So if you got removed, no hard feelings. When you're ready to contribute, you can reach back out to me and I'll give you access again. But I'm only gonna keep the people on there that are contributing. So if you don't actively contribute, you will be removed. And I'll probably be checking on that monthly. So if I were to put you on today, for example, maybe even weekly, I believe. Yeah, it'll be weekly. And you haven't contributed anything, I'll remove you. And then if you want to get on again, I'm kind enough to let you get on again, but I want to see contributions. Otherwise, you're just going to get removed again. Um, all right. So Brendan, you want to go first? You want to do this demo, and then I'll do my demo, or do you want me to go first and then you go?
Well, what I added was kind of in addition to because I forked your version of it, so maybe we should see what you did, and I can sort of show you what I added onto that. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm still sharing my screen, right? All right. All right. So let me run it. Let me run the project. So, and then I'll show you what I mean with the code base really quick. So let me share that first. So with the code base, what I did was I incorporated some of the changes to make it beginner friendly, because most beginners, they don't know how to develop an app natively in JavaScript, or maybe they don't even know how to use a JavaScript framework yet. So we're doing HTML, SCSS, and JavaScript with Bootstrap 5. And even though the app's meant to be primarily used with a mobile device, we did this because we wanted to make it beginner friendly so people at all levels could contribute to the project. That was the whole point. But I took it back and put the HTML in an HTML file, SCSS in a SCSS file, even though it's similar to CSS, it's not much different. And then we've got the JS and the JS file, and then we got Bootstrap. So like in our package JSON, it has all of our development dependencies and dependencies. Our main dependencies are OpenAI's API, .env, Bootstrap, and Popper.js core. We need the .env to hide our secret keys, because we shouldn't be having our secret key for the OpenAI's API out there on the GitHub repo. And you don't want anybody to have that key. I mean, people can use it, and you're gonna have a bill from hell. So like, you don't want other people having access to your key. But that's the purpose of .env. And then we have OpenAI's API and Bootstrap installed, but Bootstrap's JavaScript. Also Popper, because Popper also has, depending on what features we're using for Bootstrap's components, we need Popper on there for some of those components. And then we also have, for our dev dependencies, there's a bunch. Uh, yeah, there's a bunch. But let's go to. Oh yeah, okay. So I made that change in the SCSS. You're gonna do. I created a section for variables where we're importing Bootstrap CSS. Then we have our variables for our color scheme, and then we have our fonts here. So we have just wherever our fonts are being used, and then we have different sections depending on what it is. Um, and then I added a transition effect, but I coded it because there's third-party libraries out there, transition libraries, but they're just crazy. They're just too heavy, and all I wanted was a simple fade in and fade out effect. So we just custom coded. Um, so you'll see that when I run the app. And then we have with SCSS, you'll notice you could do nesting. So like if we want to target a certain area and it needs to be more mobile responsive, we can actually nest that within there. So like I can give you resources where you can learn how to use SCSS. It's not that far from CSS. It's similar. It's pretty easy. But yeah, you'll want to nest wherever you can nest. It makes it easy. It makes it a lot easier to navigate and know what your CSS is doing. And then we have our main JS where I imported the config function from .env, and then I marked out some of these because we don't need some of these because what we're doing here with this version is I wanted to make this like, I don't know what's called, like a quick and dirty version. I don't know if we're gonna stick with this style, but it's not necessarily full stack because we're using OpenAI's. Well, we are using an API, so in that sense it can be, but it's not like client server side strictly. We're using JavaScript's built-in fetch API. So I wanted to do that just to get it going and to get a demo going and hopefully push people to start contributing, especially if you can't do the back end or like the JavaScript side. For the AI side, if that's too much for you, you can just jump in on the front end, do something on the front end. Um, but we have our API key being imported through our env file here. I'm not going to reveal my key, but um, that's what we're doing here. And then we have to have an API URL for the fetch API, and that's basically how we're adding a message and submitting a message to the API through JavaScript's fetch API. And this is our template. It's a prompt template, a built-in prompt template. This is a different style of prompt engineering here. There's different, prompt engineering goes way more in depth than this, but this is just a basic prompt template where the system is basically the API or the OpenAI, and then we're giving it a context. We're telling it what we want it to do. Like in other words, um, we're gonna give it an ingredient, and we only want an answer related to that ingredient, and that's it. And then we have the user, and we're passing in the message dynamically. And we have, of course, a little bit of error handling, basic error handling, and then we have uh, event listeners, so that way we can, when we use the button, we can either click the button or hit the enter key as we're typing the prompt for the AI, and it's going to work. I did limit. Oh yeah, and this is for the splash screen, and the transition. So I don't want to get too much into all that stuff because of time, and instead we leave time for Brendan. But I'm gonna go ahead and run the project. And this project, I changed it for. I'm pretty sure I put npm run dev. Let me check. Unless it's still npm start on this project. Let me check. No, it's still npm start. All right. So on this one, we just type npm start to start the development server, and then now that that's built, and when you do that, it's going to build a cache and a dist folder. And right now, this dist folder is just to run the project. It's a temporary dist folder. This is not the folder that, this is not the final build. There's a build command we have to run to make a build for production. But for now, we got that going. You just control click, and it's going to open the app. And you'll see it has a nice fade out, fade in. And this is on the desktop version, but when we inspect it, we can do like a mobile, and it'll stack. So like you'll see it, like it'll stack for mobile. And then basically we can enter one ingredient. I just put sodium, but we can put whatever we want. So if anybody wants to do anything, we can put whatever we want. And right now it's not programmed for streaming. So the AI, when it gets the feedback from the AI, it's just going to automatically just pop in. So like it'll show sodium up top, and then the AI is gonna just pop in, just populate. But we gotta do the JavaScript side on. We have to set it up for streaming, so it looks like it's typing it in rather than just appearing. More like how ChatGPT does it. So like, see how it just popped in. So this is more like a test version. We're gonna want it to stream where it looks like someone's typing it out really quick. So I could do the streaming on that. I already did it on a different project I'm working on, but so it won't be too hard for me to do the streaming here. But basically that's the feedback we got, and it's hard to get it really concise, but this is as concise as I was able to get it. I would have to play around more with the what do you call that, the prompt template more to see if I can, or even the limits, because there's other parameters on the AI where we can we can, I guess, limit how much tokens it uses, but sometimes that cuts out the prompt. Like for example, if we limit it to a certain number of tokens and it's too small, it might end the feed, like what the AI gives us, like for example, midway, like in its text, and it won't look natural, it'll look odd. We got to come up with a different solution, but this is as concise as I got it to get for now. But it does give pretty useful information. Um, so that's basically what I did, and I already pushed it to the main branch because I always push my code to the main branch. But on the development branch, I merged it with the main branch, so that way anybody that wants to get on, they can just clone the repo, and then I updated the repo too with more instruction, and then or wait, yeah, or wait, that was a different repo. I'm sorry. So this repo is still the way it is, but I should update it because yeah, this one definitely needs to get updated. So I'll probably update this one. Sorry, I was losing track of projects there. All right, so yeah, that's basically the updates I did to try to make it more beginner friendly. And this is not it. We still have a lot of components to add to this. Like we still have our nav bar. I just put ingest IQ up here as a placeholder for now, but there's still a lot to add. But I try to make the styling look like a little more modern. You know what I mean? Like not too bootstrappy. Like I try to use more custom CSS than Bootstrap by itself, so that way it's a little bit more modern, because when we use Bootstrap by itself, it kind of doesn't look too great. But yeah, it just depends on how custom you guys want to get. At first, I was thinking about holding us strictly to Bootstrap, but it's going to look kind of funky if we use 100% Bootstrap. But just kind of go with it, like a more modern look, whatever it takes to go modern. We want to use Bootstrap's components where we're using their components, but we also want to use custom CSS if it's going to make the component look a hell of a lot better. Because Bootstrap looks pretty generic by itself. But that was my update. Any questions? Questions? All right, no. All right, Brendan.
Yeah. So do you want me to just quickly
Yeah, let me
demonstrate
let me
what I
stop
added onto
sharing.
that? Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that'll work.
See if I.
I was gonna incorporate Zilola's splash screen, So I still have to do that. How she had the loader, how it was blinking different colors. So I was trying to figure out either go with the logo how we have it, or maybe switch to that one. That one was pretty cool. So we're still trying to get that figured out. I just put something together real quick to try to clean it up real quick and get it manageable for anybody just like new, like anybody, especially for the beginners.
Yeah, I thought the one with the CSS animation that looked pretty nice. I
Yeah,
thought.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was
But
saying.
yeah,
We're
all right.
probably
So let
gonna
me
have to
see.
drop that one back in. Yeah,
Yes, if I share my screen here. All right. So hopefully you can see this now. So this is the same version. The thing that I experimented with adding here was this image selection thing. So obviously for the final product, the formatting would need to be different here. We'd want this button to probably look like that button, but just as a test, I added it like this. So what the purpose here is, as Fernando was saying, we wanted to have an option where you could take a picture of a nutrition label, upload that, and then get feedback from the AI about that. So what I'll do here is I'll select an image of a nutrition label, and then it's going to read the image, and it's going to convert the image to text. And then if I submit that, the AI will give feedback about this nutrition information. So it's telling us that it's has protein, but has high sugar content that could be uh, less than desirable. And then if you don't want this, you can just clear that, and then that disappears. So that's so um, how you were
yes,
envisioning that the future would work, but that's at least a start to what we could maybe build.
yeah, yeah. And then maybe I was thinking because the input, you know how it shows your input, maybe we can hide that when it's an image because of the way it looks, and then just have the output from the AI. And then when it's text, it's
Definitely.
not bad to have it because I mean it's just like unless they misspelled it, it's not gonna look too terrible. But I think that's good. What
Yeah.
did you use though? What did you use for the text or the image to text?
Yeah. So I used it's I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but a tesseract.js.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Just
I've heard of that one. That's good.
yeah, it's
All right.
free and super easy to use. So it worked pretty well,
I mean, because our
and
project's
then
intended to be like the way the level we're trying to get at is just intended to be pretty simple and basic anyway. So I think that works. I mean, we just want to get it to like work, I guess, as effectively or as precisely as we can get it to for an MVP level. I mean, it looked pretty good to me that demo for the image to text. I thought it looked
one
good.
thing
We just gotta.
we may want to add a
Huh?
I wonder if we want to add a feature where since it may not transcribe the text correctly, or it pops up, but then the user can make changes if they see a typo or something before they submit. That might be something to add.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we can get all into that. Yeah, but I'm more curious about seeing how it works with Tesseract to see if their documentation, if there's something we can do on that end too to clean it up or make it look more or make it be a little bit more precise. Um,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And
but I thought it looked good. I think that's a good demo, a good start for
yeah,
everybody because I mean so like that's where we're at on that project. We're trying to get the AI done. Me and Brendan took the lead on that one and then we're hoping anybody else that wants to get involved, you guys could start making contributions either on the AI side if you want to help us or get involved with that and learn how to do that. Or if you want to just get on the front end and start making contributions on the front end, that'll be great. Because the front end still needs some work. Like the front end is like far from done. And we still need some people to do some contributions on the front end. So like the front end is very basic. I just try to make it look a little bit nice for the demo, but we want the style consistent like that with that color scheme, and we want the light theme with the with it to have like a modern look and feel to it. So like So you don't have to use strictly 100% Bootstrap, but you want to use mainly Bootstrap, I guess, for the most for not for the most part, but for I guess for as it's like a balance. You'll get the idea when you work with Bootstrap because Bootstrap kind of looks funky, like I said, if you use 100% Bootstrap, but then you get the custom CSS going and you can modernize it, make it look a whole lot better. For the front end, we still need like, if well, let me look at the Miro board. Looking at the Miro board, like we still need a nav, a footer. We need other pages. We need more content information for that. We're gonna need like, for example, I know we don't have a whole lot, but like because we're building it as we go, it might not come out. Like these are lo-fi wireframes. They're not meant for us to replicate. They're just meant for like to know what's going on, some and be somewhat of a guide. But we're still trying to make it somewhat close to that. If you noticed on our demos, it's flipped around, but it's because of Bootstrap. Because if I would have done it on Bootstrap in this same layout, it would because it's a two column layout, it would have stacked this side or it would have stacked the answer underneath the button rather than the button underneath the answer. So it just depends on what look we go with. If we want the buttons underneath the answer, then or if we want the AI underneath the buttons like here, then we'll just have to flip that stack for Bootstrap and it'll look more like on this tablet mode. So we can still do that. That's not a big deal. Um, and then for if we look at the Figma, if it loads, let me see. Yeah. Well, a little bit. It's a little blurry. All right. So, but anyway, the Figma, you can kind of see there's a home, about, and developers support. So like there's gonna be different pages. We want to make it, instead of a single page application, we want to make it a multi-page application. And I believe we're using Parcel, so that's not going to be that big of a deal with Parcel. We don't have to do more configuration. Um, but we need more. Like I know a lot of a lot on the main page, on the main part of the app is going to be a lot of the AI, but there's still like more on development on the front end. Like we need to get the logo, we need to get the nav bar. Of course we're going to need a footer at some point, even if it's just a really basic footer. We're gonna need somebody to pick up on some of these other buttons or other features that we're gonna add to the AI to the front end for the AI part of it. But we also have an about, so we're gonna definitely want an about page with some content going there and a contact, like a contact page at least where people can contact us and let us know if there's, like while it's testing, if there's any bugs or anything that needs to be fixed while they're using it. Or maybe a place for people to contact us if they have like, maybe they're like, hey, it'd be cool if you guys made it do this, and then we can consider that. But that's basically where the tasks are here. You could just pick one up and just go with it if you like. And if the task ain't there, you can just write it up yourself and then just put it right here in the task in progress with your name on it to let me know that you're working on it. I don't know if that helps. I hope that helps. Does that help a little bit, Terry? All right. Yeah, I think so, huh? Well, you can reach out to me anytime. So like if you want to get like busy on a task and you want to reach out to me, I'll reach out and then I'll find you. And if you need like something, I'll put something there with your name on it and find you something if that helps you better. Like what I mean, I'll assign you a task and then it's up to you to get it done. If as long as you know how to use GitHub, you'll be all right. So Git and GitHub are two different things, but you got to know how to use them. That's the only way you're going to be able to clone the repo, and then when you make changes, to push those changes into the repo for everybody else to be able to update, because they're going to pull from their end. They'll pull the code into their code base for the updates, into their VS Code, for example, and to their project file, and then it'll update it, and then that's basically how it works, though. There's a fine interaction, and then we have to know who's working on what, because I'll see a salvo, but there's a fine interaction because we want to know who's doing what, because we don't want to have conflicts. We don't want to have merge conflicts and all that. All right, but I can resolve the merge conflicts. If you see a merge conflict, you can let me know, and then we can resolve it together. If you're not sure how to resolve that, we can resolve it together, like in a meeting or something. Um, Anybody else? Any questions before we go? We got like 7 minutes.
I guess I was wondering, do you think it's going to be possible to make this add an option where if somebody's using this on their phone, they could just take a picture with their phone's camera and upload that? Because I know if we were doing it in React Native or something like that, then that'd definitely be possible. But for something like this, do you know if that's an option?
Yeah, there should be some way to do that. That should still be an option. Yeah. We might. I'll look more into that. We'll have to research that one. Because I know that for some mobile app frameworks, that's definitely already like built into the framework. We just have to use it. But like for this one, we either might have to build it, or there might be a solution already out there that we can use. But I think me and Ryan talked about that in the past because we are worried because we're doing it in Bootstrap to make it more beginner friendly. We're worried that somebody would have to take the picture and then go back into the app and do it manually, kind of like how we did it right now, kind of manually. We're hoping we can fix that, like get that so that way in the app they can hit a button to to take the picture and then it'll automatically get processed through the app. So like that's something we can work on in the future and see if it's possible to do it in. I'm pretty sure we could. I'm not gonna say Bootstrap itself because Bootstrap's just a CSS framework, but in JavaScript, we'll have to see if we can find something out there, a JavaScript library or solution out there where we can have that functionality. I can research it more too, and then find a solution for it somehow. But yeah, that was an issue we brought up, I don't know, months ago. So yeah, it's a good thing you thought about it, because you just reminded me that yeah, that's going to be an issue. A little bit. Well, pretty soon here, depending on how quickly we keep getting this thing built. Um, okay, so Benton said if we wanted to join in at a later time point, since complete beginner, would we contact you through the Discord server? Yes. So you could just contact me anytime you want, and as long as we're still building on phase one. So like we're the reason why I'm saying like right now in this MVP phase is because in this phase right now we're just doing it at the beginner level in something like Bootstrap to accommodate anybody at different skill levels. But if we decide to make it just a complete mobile app, that's when we're either gonna either do it in a mobile framework or natively in JavaScript and use something like a library that's gonna compile that into a mobile app itself. So, like, there's different ways to do it now. Like, you don't have to use React Native or Flutter or any of those things anymore. We can build it with whatever JavaScript framework we want now, and then turn that into a mobile app. That's basically how it is nowadays. A couple of years ago, it wasn't like that. Maybe a couple, 2, 3 years ago, it wasn't even like that. Like if you wanted to build a cross-platform mobile app, you had to use something like React Native. But now you don't even have to use React Native if you don't want to. Like we can build it natively in JavaScript if we wanted to, and then turn that into a mobile app using a third-party source like Framework 7 or Apache Cordova, and then or you can do it in straight up React. We can do it all in React, and then with some JavaScript on the with our JavaScript logic and do the same thing. You can do it with Vue.js and do the same thing. It's like just how it is. That's just how it is now. We can do it whatever framework we want. We can use it with Svelte or any other framework we want. Basically, is what I'm trying to say, and turn that into a mobile app nowadays. You don't have to for cross-platform mobile apps. We don't have to use like we could use. I think it was Native Script. We can use another tool called Native Script. That's another one where we can get any code and basically that's web dev and turn it into a mobile app that you don't have to use a mobile framework. But like I mean, if we did, yeah, that would be more advanced level. That would be definitely more advanced level. So that's why I said if you're a complete beginner, you're gonna want to get in like now. And then so that way when we go if we do get to that part where we want to take it to that next level, you're part of that process. Um, but yeah, just jump in, message me whenever. All right. We've got a couple people typing, so I'll wait because we got just a couple minutes. What did you say right now? Oh, I thought you said something. All right, I'm just waiting for whoever's typing to finish typing. All right, Lee, see you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming. I'm glad to have you in the community. Just waiting for Doma. Yeah, you don't have access, Doma, because I cleaned up the repo, but I can get you back in the repo. Just send me just DM me your GitHub username, and then I could give you back access. It's because I'm trying to keep only the people that are actively contributing on there. So like, if you're not actively contributing, I'm removing because I wanted people to be actively contributing and making a contribution to the project if you're gonna be have access to the repo moving forward. All right. If you need help to get a start, like what do you mean? Like you need help cloning the project and getting it ready to go? Like is it with the Git and GitHub? Like you just need help like with the cloning and linking to the GitHub so you can make whatever changes you want to make and then push it? Because we can help with that. Oh, what branch to use? Just use the dev branch. So I want everybody using the dev branch, and then I want to be able to review the changes every week during these meetings. We'll review the changes and then push them, and then I'll incorporate those changes, or we can either incorporate them together, or I'll incorporate them and then push them to the main branch. So I have the main branch locked for a reason, just to preserve a copy of what we're doing. So all I got to do is get the animated splash screen in on there, and then Brendan's changes on there, and push it on, lock it in on the main, and then have it on the dev branch for everybody. But I want to do that just to like control, to make sure that we have a good version always backed up on the main branch. Kind of use it like that. The main branch is really a production branch, but like we want to like use it like that just so it's almost like so we have a clean copy of everything as we're moving forward, just in case anybody makes any changes that maybe somebody does something they weren't supposed to. We always have a version that's saved that we can just go ahead and just revert back to, an easy way of doing it without having to do it through Git. All right, let me see. Yeah, it's all right. Doma. The main point is like when you clone the repo and you link to the GitHub repo, you're gonna want to pull, like every time you're making it, before you make your change, you want to pull to make sure your branch is up to date, that your project folder is up to date with any changes, just in case anybody made any changes, and then you're gonna want to push. Normally, if you have project management software, you would be putting that out there, like, hey, I'm gonna make a pull, and I mean, people, you have different ways of interacting. We can use Discord. I mean, that's what we've been using, and we have our channel for this project, and you can go into the channel for the project and just basically let us know where you're at, to give us like a heads up what you're doing, where you're at, or what you're attempting to do, and then I can maybe shoot you a reminder. But you want to make sure that you're updating your code or the project folder in Git before you start working on it. And then once you start working on it and you test it and you feel like it's good, and it's good for the development branch, then you can go ahead and make a push it to the repo, to the dev branch, and then notify the rest of us that the push was made, so we can update after that. All right, so like it's just a back and forth. It's kind of like a back and forth. Like we all got to have some kind of communication at some type of level, and let each other know at a minimal when there's changes, and when we should be updating our project folders. All right, so we're past time and Terry's typing. I don't mind. Let me see. I'm in the same boat as Doma, but I don't have any experience using Git or GitHub, so I'll have to check out some tutorials on how to navigate that. All right, yeah, Terry. And then I left a recording on the YouTube channel. There's a early on in the project. I believe I did a recording on how to do that, but I could probably just make another one at some point. Maybe record myself starting cloning it from scratch. So that way you can kind of get like a basic rundown. Um, Anybody else? But yeah, you'll want to get into that habit, Terry, because as a developer, things you don't know, you have to go out there and research. You have to be able to research and build your own solutions to your problems. So like it's a good habit to get into to be researching and looking stuff up and spending your time doing that because you're gonna be doing that like the whole time you're developing things. Like it's never ending. You're gonna have That's a good habit to have. You got to have good research skills. So that's another thing they look at is good research skills. If you have good research skills, if you can locate things that you need. All right. That is it for the event. Thank you guys for showing up, and I was happy to see you guys this week. And thank you everybody, whoever made contributions, especially you, Brendan. And then yeah, just contact me whenever, Brendan. And then we can get everything put together, and then have the dev branch updated. Yeah. All right, Terry. But yeah, thank you guys for coming, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Yeah, see you, Hizer. I'll see you next Sunday, and hope to see you guys next week. And let me know if you guys have any questions. Reach out anytime. You can DM me. You DM me, or you can post something in the one of the channels on our community. Whatever you want to do. All right, so I'm gonna stop the recording. I'm gonna end the event, and you guys have a blessed Sunday.